Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to, unfortunately, another video. Right, oh man. Right, let me take you, it's going to be a lot of talking here now, so be prepared, okay? Because I need to take you through the full shebang, through the full story. So, on the last video, so the car is a 2013 Citroën DS3 with the 1.6 VVT engine, 120 brake horsepower. The engine code, I believe, is the 5, well, it might not be the engine code, it's the 5FS, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so that's the engine. Guys, really recommended for you to watch the previous video on this car. I will leave a link in the description below. But for you guys that follow the channel, these most likely will be just the following video, so you might still have the previous video fresh in your memory. So you will know that the car came as a crank no start. We went through the fault finding process, etc., and we got the engine running. So, am I ready to crank this thing? Let me think. I think I am. I think I'm ready. So, that's gonna do it. It's gonna get the key. Right, this is the moment of the truth. It's gonna see what happens. Is it gonna crank? Is it gonna explode? What is gonna happen? Let's see. Ooh, it started by shut down. Let me try again. And they timed the engine correctly. So we got the engine running, no problems at all. Engine was running here for about half an hour or so, maybe a little bit more actually. If you watch the video, you've seen that I got the engine running, then I left the engine here idling while I put all the tools away, etc. So it must have been way more. Then the missus called me to do something in the house. It must have been way over half an hour. The engine was fully warmed up, and I got out to go for a test drive. Literally drove up to the end of the road. As I was crossing an intersection up there that you might have seen on previous videos, it doesn't really matter. I drove, let's say, from here to there is about what? 200 meters maybe? Then as I was crossing the road, I felt something on the engine. Engine light came on straight away with all the warnings, and the engine started misfiring, or it looked like what was a misfiring. I've turned around straight away, stopped. While I was there, I had the Maxis with me, quickly scanned the car, and we had these codes that you probably seen on the previous video. This is the guy, the owner, ringing, and that means I'm gonna have more information for you just in a second. Okay. Now I don't know where I was. I'm gonna have to watch the previous clip. Sorry, guys. Okay, so as I was saying, so we had these codes. I got back home, and I've wrapped up the video, if you remember. But for this video, guys, I'm gonna end this here because there's no point to now start to capture different problems on the same video. So, with no further ado, guys, that was it. In the end, someone messed up the time. After that, I thought to myself, I was working nights that day. This was 2 days ago. I just left nights this morning, and while I had the Maxi here, I just thought, let me quickly just delete these codes, see what comes back, or if the car carry on running the way it is, and I'll try to look quickly through live data just to kind of have a quick idea of what might be wrong. But I did all of that off camera because I was not planning to record. I was planning to start a new video for the repair of those issues. So I've turned the engine off, clear the codes, then I tried to start the engine, and the engine failed to start. At that time, I let it to crank, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5 timer revolutions, and just when I thought, okay, let me try again, and just as I was turning the key off, I felt something. I was not sure what it was. If it was the engine tried to go to fire up or if it was something else. I thought, that's weird. When I tried the second time, guys, I could feel the chain jumping on the sprockets or something along those lines. I felt something really, really bad. And obviously I switched off really quick and I thought, something is really bad now. I never cranked the engine after that. But it definitely felt something bad happened. So today, as I said, I just left nights. I came here and the worst news just came across. Plus, something that didn't really quite, let's put it across, something that I didn't really pay attention when I was doing the repair. I mentioned on the other video that I was told that, I'll tell you now, obviously, if you haven't watched the other video, but if you didn't, please watch because everything is there. So, I was told that this engine had a oil pump failure or something like that, and the head ran without oil and damaged all the cams and all that stuff. So they replaced the pump with a new oil pickup. The sump has been out apparently, and they did a new timing kit on this, new timing chain, a new head, a new used head. I just got all the information now when I initially rang him to explain to him, and then he said I'm gonna ring people that did the job, which I'll get through everything in a sec. So the second hand head was schemed to make sure everything was good, everything was put back on. What else? Yeah, and the engine never started. So that's what I was told. Never clicked when I was doing the initial job, but I don't know. I mean, it kind of did click, and I thought that's weird, but I didn't pay much attention. But definitely, this timing kit has not been replaced, or has been replaced, but I'll tell you in a second. So I got the cover off this morning again. Start to check. Visually, initially everything looked okay. So I thought, that's weird. And the engine, funny enough, stopped with both cams in the correct timing position. So I could see the three sides of the square at the end of the camshaft where the tool goes. I could see the three sides and the round one facing down, and the two cams, they look like they were exactly where they should be. And I thought, that sounds good. Then I go under the engine, got the car in the air. As you're going to see, the car is already on the jacks and stands. Go in the car with the ratchet, try to turn the engine to put the locking tool again on the flywheel, and the engine locked. So it gave, I don't know, I could, with the ratchet, I gave about a quarter of a turn, and the engine just locked. I went back, which I know you shouldn't do, but I just went back a little bit. The engine turned back okay. Then I came forward again, and it locked in the same place. And I thought, that's not very good. So what I've done is I start to inspect a little bit more. And let me show you. So first, the timing chain kit. Kind of clicked at the time. I thought it was a... But it could be that there is different colors, guys. I don't do timing chains all the time. But usually a brand new kit, these guides are usually light green, nearly white. And I thought this color usually indicates an old guide. And you can see all the other ones are the same. You can see in there. And you can see the other one right at the back. Another thing that I've noticed when I took it off so I could look through there properly. I've noticed this. You can see these wear marks. These wear marks, they don't happen just by cranking the engine. If this was new and the engine never started, these takes years to happen. So that was another clue to me that this has not been replaced. You guys that have done these loads of times obviously going to say straight away, yeah, no chance that was new. They are always a different color, but I was not focused on that at the time. Which I have now been confirmed through these phone calls. that no, they put a used timing kit chain from another engine. Mind blowing, I know. What can I do? Or what can I say? But that's not the worst part. So as I said, the engine was locking, and when I looked through there, I was using my light in there, and that's why I took the guide off. I could swear I couldn't see the sprockets at the bottom. So the crankshaft sprocket where the chain engages, I couldn't see it, and I could swear that what I was seeing was actually the chain on top of the sprocket, which is impossible because the chain goes from here, or comes this way, goes all the way down, and then goes under the sprocket on the crankshaft, and comes up on that side. So on the top here, you can't see a chain because the chain goes on the underside. So I thought, wow, how this is possible? So I'm going to show you here now. Try to. I do apologize for the glare; it's absolutely terrible, but I have a card here, which might help you. But as you can see there, look, can you see there? So that's my sprocket at the bottom. You can see the teeth. Let me see if I can pause this. There we go. You can see the teeth of the sprocket, and then you can see the chain on top. Can you see that? Look at that, clear as day. So the chain is snapped and is wrapped there on top. What can I say, guys? Luckily, I'm gonna admit that luckily these things snapped while I was trying to crank the engine. So it didn't snap with the engine running, if that makes sense. It was literally when I was trying to start the engine, that's when it snapped. So I rang the owner. The owner, apparently, I explained all of this. He was really mad, so he rang the people that did the job. And that's when now he told me that no, they never changed the timing kit chain. They put a used timing kit chain from a good engine or something like that. And obviously I explained to him the fact that the engine was never timed correctly initially, which he was a little bit. I said to him, everything's on video, so if you want me to prove it, I will prove it. Anyway, so I explained to him, so he asked me what to do now, and I explained to him, look, I don't know if anything has been damaged. I explained to him that the timing chain snapped while I was cranking, so hopefully maybe he hasn't made a lot of damage, if any at all. I said to him, but until you put a new timing chain, I can't tell. There's nothing I can tell. So I gave him the options. Either he would strip everything down with the possibility to go for another head to get the valves replaced, which I said to him, if it comes to that, I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you that now, and I tell you here, guys, I'm not going to go to that extent because it's just too much. Well, I keep saying sometimes I don't do things and I ended up doing them, but I'm not very keen to go that far. But he agreed that he's going to get me a brand new timing chain kit with the vanos. I said to him, I don't trust these vanos now. Might be that they are good. I said to him, get me a timing chain kit with the vanos. Okay, replace these vanos because we don't know how these ones are. Especially if the timing chain snapped and everything was used. I don't know already how it was. Although the engine was here running with the vanos initially, very good. But I just said to him, if you're going to do it right. So he's going to get me a new timing chain kit with the vanos, bolts and all that good stuff, guides and all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the wheel on this side, on the driver's side, take the wheel, start to dismantle things, so we can get to that bottom bolt that holds the crankshaft sprocket, and we're going to take the vanos, take the chain out, and that's it, guys. What a mess. What a mess. Just because someone takes shortcuts and mess things up. I can't believe someone just decided to put a used timing chain kit when rebuilding a car. Ah, by the way, this thing had new piston rings as well. So they went through the trouble to put new piston rings, new oil pump, new pickup pump, second-hand head, skimmed, new end gasket, the whole shebang, to then put a used timing chain kit. I know I'm laughing, but it's honestly is. Oh, and they haven't even done the job right because they never timed the engine correctly initially. Oh man, you need to laugh because otherwise, right? There's no point to be here dwelling anymore because the job needs doing, and it looks like I'm gonna have to do it. So let's gonna get done with this. I'm not gonna take too much into details on how to do this, but obviously the top you already seen how it's done. I've shown on the other video how you lose the vanos and all that good stuff. So all we're gonna do is do the same thing again to remove those vanos out. Here on the side to take the sprocket of the crankshaft. I'll take you a little bit through things, but it's not too difficult either. Really quick job. So we're gonna get that done quickly and see if we can get this thing running again. And hopefully, oh my god, I just hope he hasn't bent any valves or anything like that. I really hope he didn't. Oh man, it's a it's a big risk. Removing the head. Oh man, what am I gonna do? I know, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, guys. So very quick, few couple things. So remove the liner, remove that cover, remove the tension on the belt, on the drive belt for the AC. To remove the tension, I've used a big adjustable, and you turn these way, and when you get to a certain position, you push this pin in, and that will lock this tensioner in place. And as you can see, the belt is now ready to remove, and then we're going to remove the sprocket or this pulley here. Okay, just a quick other thing. Ideally you'd take this electronic tensioner. I'm going to avoid to do that, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tension of this to take this belt. To take the tension of this, you just grab this thing here, you pull it like so. Now you pull it, and you're going to see that coming away. Can you see that? Taking the pressure. Okay, so when you do this, well, I can't do these two hands, but when you pull these, I can then move these out of the way in order for the belt to come off. So that's how we do it. I'm going to try to see if I can leave this in place. Okay guys, so something is not really adding up. So first of all, I was mistaken. The chain is not snapped. It looks like what I was looking at is a different sprocket that's at the back for the oil pump that goes down to the oil pump. Maybe the camera was going on top of that one. So I'm not really sure why these jumped right now or what the heck was going on. That said, this has never been replaced. It's impossible. So look, impossible that this seal here is not. Look, how the hell did they change the oil pump with a seal like this? It's impossible. Then also the tensioners, the guides, look at these bolts. They have not been touched recently. Look, no chance. And you need to take these off to remove the timing chain. Okay, so I will rectify a little bit of things because I never done this before. So you need to take this electronic tensioner. I have the jack now there supporting the engine. You need to take the engine support here on the side. Can you see what I'm doing? I think you can. So you need to take all of these out. Now I'm going to take the other screw in there. There's a bolt here that goes right there. Which holds the tensioner at the top, not the tensioner, the guide at the top. And then I'm gonna have to take this one, which is the other one, the other bolt for this guide. I need to take this one to take the other guide on this side. I already removed the tensioner, which is here. So I'm not really. It's still. It does have a little bit of pressure. There's not a problem there. I was just thinking, could it be the chain is overstretched, and that's what made it to jump? Man, this has been lies after lies. I should just fob these off and send these away because, oh man, I think I'm walking into really rough terrain. I think I'm walking into problems, but I got this far now. I'm not gonna go back. So definitely the chain is not snapped, so that means it jumped somehow. Not really sure why or how, but it jumped. Right. Okay, let's see if this comes up. Did, and it is all in one piece, which is a good sign. It snapped now all the bits are here. Check on the other side. Looks intact. It looks intact with a little bit of wear, as you can see. Oops, as you can see there. I can't believe this hasn't been touched. They say they have, but they haven't. But it's all in one piece, which is actually good. So at least something good. Yeah, manufacturing date. If you can see there, 2012. 2012. Now, could it be a chain that's overstretched and somehow allowed the engine to jump again? So that might means the reason why the engine was locking was because it was so much out of time that it's actually touching the valves. So let me try to time the crankshaft first. Put the locking tool on the crankshaft. I'm going to have to move these camshafts and I'm going to have to put these back on with the bolts so I can turn the crank. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Okay, let's do that. I don't need to take you through the bits through that. Let's just gonna time the crank. Okay guys, and I'm absolutely stuck at this moment because so what is happening right now, which I'll show you in a second, is actually what led me to believe that the chain was snapped. So when I put the camera down, I think what happened was either the camera was going on top. I didn't realize there's two chains in there, so now it's quite easy to see. But with the tensioners and the runners in place and all that good stuff, it's difficult to see. And with the sprockets at the top here, etc. But now I can see there's another chain for the oil pump. So maybe the camera was going on top of that one, and that's what led me to think that something was wrong, that the chain was snapped. But the other thing that was really led me to believe that the chain was snapped was the way the engine was getting locked. So if you remember, I told you that I was trying to rotate the engine, and the engine was getting locked. So at the moment, let me show you this, because I've been here just scratching my head and I can't understand what the heck's going on with this. So let me show you that I have, this piston is all the way down, this piston is up here. You see the difference? So down. So if I do this, let me do this like that. So I'll put my fingernail in there. This is up, this is up, and that one is going to be down, obviously. So at this precise position, if I try to run the engine, to turn the engine, I wanted to show you that this side, let me put this in again so I don't drop anything inside these cylinders. I wanted to show you is because I don't understand what's going on. I wanted to show you that on this side, because where the valve lift adjuster there stopped, the valves will be opening very little, because it's all the way up. So which means at the moment you're going to be able to see there, because I'm going to put the phone so you can see that nothing, the camshaft is not moving. So you see there when it starts to touch there, to touch the rocker arms. So as you can see, look, it's not touching the rocker arms. That one is not touching the rocker arms. And then these two, obviously they are not, because the lobe is facing up. This lobe is facing this way. And then this one is facing back, and this is the only one that is down, but it's too far away. Let me zoom in a little bit more. You can see there, it's not touching the rocker arm yet. Okay, so which means all the valves on the intake are going to be all the way up. It's going to be fully closed. On this side, I put this in a position that I made sure. So as you can see, so there we go. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see it like so. So the lobes, these lobes here, so these ones are facing kind of down. They are pushing on the rocker arms. These ones are facing that way, and then these lobes are facing that way, but they are not touching the rocker arms. I don't know if you can see. See, the rocker arms don't move. Only moves on the first one. See there? Yeah, so the first one is fully open, the valves, you see there? And this one is facing up. So only these valves are being pushed, are open, right? But at the moment, this cylinder is all the way down. And when I try to turn the engine, I wanted to see this. Look what happens. See this? Look, I go back. Look. It's like a dead stop. Look, back. Go forward again. You look. Look. It's a dead stop, completely. Look. I can't turn the engine. And where it stops, let me put it now where it stops. So you don't think it's touching the valve. So that's where it stops. I can't turn it. I don't want to force it too much, but I definitely cannot turn it. So as you're going to see, this cylinder still all the way down, look. So even with this valve fully open, it will never be touching the piston. So, and these valves, obviously these cylinders are up, these two cylinders, but the valves are not even opened at all. So it's not touching here either, and it's not touching there either, because on the intake, because the valves are fully closed as well. And the engine is locked. I don't know why. I don't know where it's locking. I just don't know. I think something else happened other than the chain snapped, the chain jumping, and I think that's what maybe made the chain to completely jump. Something is locking this engine. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I'm going to proceed, guys. I really don't know at the moment. I don't know. All I know is I'm tired of this. I think it's something internal in the engine, not on the head, unless something broke. I put the camera inside the pistons already. My camera, I can't see the wall piston, but I can't see nothing inside the cylinder, at least. So actually, I might put the camera, I'll try to show you. There's one thing I've seen on cylinder 2 that I didn't like. Let me show you. Okay, so let's gonna look at number 4. It's all the way down, number 4. There we go. Okay. So it looks okay-ish, I would say. Let's gonna look at number 1, which is the other one that is all the way down. There we go. Okay. Now let me try to rotate the engine the opposite way to pull the pistons down, the middle ones. I can only turn backwards a little bit until it locks again as well. So he's locking on both directions. Let me drop it a little bit first. Okay, I just dropped it. So let's gonna look at number 2. So this is how much I can drop it, but what I wanted to look at that. Can you see the cylinder here? It looks like it's burned. It looks like something has been, look at that. Can you see that? I don't know how good it comes on camera because of the, can you see that in there? Look at that. What the heck is that? I can't drop this piston anymore, unfortunately. That doesn't look right, does it? And let me show you now number 3. I don't think I looked at number 3 yet, or did I? No, number 3 is alright. There it is. Number 3 is okay. Number 2, definitely something happening there on this piston. I don't know what it is. Let me try to do something. Okay, so I was trying to see if I could see anything on the walls of this cylinder by using this little mirrored camera, but I can't really see nothing like out of the ordinary. So yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm going to proceed with this. I'm really not sure. And the thing is, I don't believe was anything that I've done by just timing the engine that caused this to fail. Something else on this engine was already bad. Something on this engine was already bad. Whether is whatever someone else did before he brought it to me, when they did whatever they did, I don't know. Could it be the oil pump getting stuck? Nope, it's not the oil pump. So what I've done is I removed everything. I just put this bolt, and as you can see, when I come back, I can turn the crankshaft without turning the sprocket for the oil pump. You see? Sorry about that. Let me see if I can show you. See, turning the crank without turning the pump, and as soon as I get here, let me show you again. Yeah, that's it, locked. So it's not the oil pump, it's something else. What the heck's going on with this thing? Okay guys, it's me again. This is a couple days later, right, problem found. Problem is found. What to say? So, first of all, a massive thanks to Elder, my colleague. A big shout out to him. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below. Massive thanks, not just for coming after work to give me his opinion, but to give me that final push, if you will, that incentive to actually go this far to be able to find an answer. If you have watched the previous video right until the end, the previous video on this car right until the end, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. A link to that video also in the description of this video. And yeah, so cutting a long story short, he came around, you've seen what the problem was. Same as me, initially he was thinking that the valves were catching somewhere. Sorry, that the piston, one of the pistons was touching the valves. At some point we thought maybe a valve was bent, and even though the cams were all in a position where the valves should be all closed, all on the up position, it could be that a valve was bent and was not coming all the way up. But when checking the top of the valves just under the rocket, what they call it, the rockers, they were all at the same position, so that was not the case either. I show him, I put the camera again inside the cylinder for him to have a look, and obviously was no doubts. We both agree that something is wrong in that cylinder, but what was that, we don't know, or we didn't know. And yes, again, he gave me that little push, that little incentive, and we just got, while he was there, to be honest, I just got hands on it, and I removed the head. And once the head was removed, the problem was revealed. And I'm going to show you, even though I have a suspicion where that came from, and I'll show you in a second, I don't have a clue how, because, well, let me show you. Okay, and the reason why the engine was locking in place was because of that. Look at that. Now, these, to me, when I looked, it looks like, and I'm going to give you an idea why I think it is because of this bit here, which is the only one that's still kind of, not going to say intact, is this bit of metal here, because of the shape. See the shape here? To me, this looks like a section of one of these. And what this is, or these are the valve seats. What are the valve seats? Let me show you what the valve seats are. So basically, guys, that was getting between the piston and the top or the bottom of the head and was not allowing the engine to rotate. So look at the state of this. So that bit I showed you is the only one that's still kind of, let me put some light here, is the only one that's still kind of giving some clue of what might be. The valve seats, guys, they leave behind the valve. So when the valve, you can see that sort of ring around there, a metal insert. So obviously when the valves open and close, they're not going to touch, they're not going to seal against the aluminum block. They seal against this metal ring, which is called a valve seat. The thing is, I pulled all these, as you can see, they are all open, these valves, and all the seals, they look to be there. So I'm not sure if this was something that was left inside the cylinder or inside, I don't know. It's impossible for me to say. Whatever happened, it didn't happen just on this cylinder. It was about to happen, as you can see there, on that one as well. See how that valve is? Bent a little bit. So I'm not sure where this metal came from. I'm not sure what happened before with this engine. I've been drop fed information as I challenge the owner and the mechanic that worked on this car. They keep adding bits to the story. So obviously he was not the one that repaired the head. So apparently now the engine didn't really run out of oil. Apparently the timing chain snapped. But what doesn't make too much sense to me is that he said they put a used timing chain kit from a 27,000 miles car. But the problem is, as I've showed you, the bolts on the side of the block that holds the tensioners, they didn't seem to be touched. So how did they replace this without taking? It doesn't make any sense. So I still believe I'm not being told the full story. But apparently the last story now, or the last version of the story, is that the initial timing chain snapped. They got the head out. Apparently some valves have been replaced along with some other things. To be fair with you, when you look at these valves, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, the state of these 4 valves, you can see these, the ones on cylinder 1, they look the most clean ones, especially those 2 at the back. They nearly look like brand new valves. You can see, maybe not brand new, but they look definitely different. So I'm not really sure, but apparently they sent the head to be schemed and to be repaired, whatever they did. So I don't know, was this metal left behind the valve somehow? And when I start to actually drive the engine, a little bit more a load on the engine, that I don't have a clue, guys, and I think I'm never gonna have the answer. The only thing I know is that, judging, and I'll show you again once more, is that judging by the shape of this piece of metal here, focus, judging by the piece of metal here, it's going to be impossible to show you this. Let me see if I can show you like that. So judging by the shape of this piece of metal, it really looks to me like a valve seat, just like this one. Now I might be wrong, but it's what it looks like. Another thing to say is that even now with nothing here, the engine is really stiff to turn, and when I put this piston all the way down, you can see that the piston is completely rubbing against on this side. So the piston is like oval, if you wish, and is making a lot of pressure against this side and against this side. Obviously you can see it's completely destroying there, so that could be the cause. But the gaps here are slightly bigger on the side. So this piston is like an egg, if you wish. And the problem now is, did that deformed the block as well? We don't know. It's a little bit difficult to tell. So the only option with this now would be a new piston or used piston, and go from there. The only problem with that is, by the time you take this piston, I will have to take the bottom, the sump out. I would have to take the piston out, obviously, take the con rod. Now, is the con rod okay? Because the con rod obviously has been putting under a lot of pressure to be banged here. Are the bearings okay on the crankshaft? We don't know. So more we dig into this, there is a chance that more problems we are going to find. And obviously would need a new timing kit, new chain, new timing kit. The head, something would have to be done with the head. By the time you actually get anything done with this, and I spoke with the owner and the mechanic, and they both agree it will be cheaper to just get another engine. So the instructions now is to just let them know to come and pick up this thing. The way I'm going to do this now, because I have the jack at the moment holding the engine, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just clear this. I'm going to put the head in place with the bolts just sort of snagged in place, so I can put the engine support so they can take this away. That's what I'm going to do now, literally, and that will be the end of it. So yeah, this was is a shame, and it's a shame that I don't have more answers about what happened, but at least I got to the bottom of what was causing the problem with this engine. Oops, wrong camera, but it doesn't really matter. I think I found exactly what happened with this thing, just as I was start to put the head back on. Watch this. So, I thought, okay, so I know exactly what happened now, and please guys correct me if you believe I'm wrong. So when the timing chain initially snapped on this engine, I think what happened was the engine timing chain snapped, and it must have bent some valves, and when the valves bent, they knocked on the valve seat, snapped the valve seat, and as the valve retracts, it heated the valve seat and kicked the valve seat back to the intake. So it must have been an intake one. He kicked it back into the intake, because I decided to remove the intake to put the head, because it would be way easier for me. And look what I found when I was looking inside. Let me see if I can put this here somehow where you guys can see. I don't know. Look at that. Bingo. And there is all these bits that you see shiny, it's all debris. So they are everywhere. Can't really see there, but they were already start to go on cylinder 1 as well. That's why you have that little bit on cylinder 1. So I'm going to pull this bit out, which is the biggest one I've seen so far. So what happened was, I'm going to pull it out. Oh, there it comes. 100% of valve seat, guys. There's no even... Okay, let me try to take these out and I'll show you. There is 1,000,000% sure that this is a valve seat. There's no questions about it. And I'm pretty sure I'm 1,000,000% correct. That's exactly what happened. So initially, when it snapped, obviously the valve seat is behind the valve, so when the valve bent, as it came back, it must have hit the valve seat, obviously not evenly, and snapped the valve seat, and it banged it back. The only way to go is back to here. While I had the engine running here, just idling, it was fine. The problem was when I accelerated, and you create a vacuum in here, and it pulled it in. So if these would have been inspected when the entire job was done, this car would be now back on the road and running. And unfortunately now we have a completely destroyed engine. So yeah, now I know what happened, and now I can give them all the information. What do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm correct? Do you guys think I'm wrong? I'm pretty sure I'm correct. This is, with no questions, a valve seat. All the valve seats are there. That's the only explanation I have. So that's it. Although I never seen it happening, I think it's the first time I remove a head on an engine, to be fair with you. It's not my cup of tea for sure. It was just that I was puzzled to try to figure out what was wrong with this. So, and we did go there in the end. That's the most important thing. Leave your comments below, guys. What do you think? And that'll be it. It's gonna wrap up this, because I just want this thing out of here. So with no further ado, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Probably not, who knows. If you do still have any questions, any comments, you know exactly how it works, just put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.